The late afternoon sun painted the sky in golden hues as Jake Thompson pulled into his driveway, his sleek black SUV humming to a stop. He had just wrapped up a brutal 12-hour workday at his engineering firm and was dreaming of a quiet evening on his porch. But the moment he stepped out of his car, his stomach dropped. His white wooden fence, the one he had built with his own hands, the one he had spent years maintaining, was gone. Completely. Nothing remained but shattered pieces of wood scattered across his lawn. His heart pounded. What the hell happened? He took a few hurried steps toward the remnants of his fence and saw a bright yellow violation notice taped to his front door. He ripped it off and read the words that made his blood boil. Your fence was in violation of the new HOA regulations. It has been removed to comply with community standards. A $3,500 demolition and landscaping fee has been added to your account. Payment due within 30 days. Jake's hands tightened into fists. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a deliberate attack. Jake stormed through the glass doors of the Willow Creek HOA office, his footsteps echoing in the marble-floored lobby. Behind the polished reception desk, a stern-looking woman barely glanced up from her computer. Margaret, the HOA's administrative manager. Jake planted both hands on the counter. Margaret, who authorized my fence to be torn down? She typed a few keys before looking up. Mr. Thompson, your fence was in violation of the new community height restrictions. The board approved its removal last week. Jake's pulse spiked. My fence was under the previous limit of 6 feet. The new rule only applies to new fences. Mine was built 7 years ago. Margaret smirked. You should have attended the last HOA meeting, Mr. Thompson. The board voted to make all fences comply retroactively. Jake clenched his jaw. You can't do that. That's illegal. Margaret leaned forward, lowering her voice. Then sue us. That night, Jake sat at his desk, his laptop casting a cold blue glow over his face. His screen was filled with HOA bylaws, zoning regulations, and property codes. He had read through hundreds of pages, searching for something, anything, that could be used against them. And then he found it. If a structure was legally built before a rule change, it is classified as a grandfathered property and cannot be forcibly altered under new regulations. His fence was built 7 years ago. It was protected. The HOA had no right to tear it down. Jake didn't just want his money back. He wanted revenge. The next morning, he scheduled a meeting with a local investigative journalist. He provided photos, emails, and documents showing the HOA's corrupt rule changes. By the afternoon, a headline appeared on the town's news website. Willow Creek HOA caught illegally destroying homeowners' property, lawsuits incoming. After the article went live, Jake's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Jake, I read the article. The HOA fined me $1,200 last month for a non-standard driveway. Can they do that? Dude, my grandma got fined $500 for unapproved landscaping when she only planted roses. This is a scam. I've lived here for 15 years and never had an issue. Now they're threatening to revoke my parking permit because my car looks old? What is happening? Jake realized something. He wasn't alone. By Friday night, 20 homeowners gathered in his garage. Some angry, some scared, but all ready to fight back. As Jake detailed his legal findings, he could see the shock on their faces. For years, the HOA had been quietly rewriting rules to steal money from them. HOA's crimes exposed, fake violation fines, illegally enforced rule changes, overcharging for landscaping fees, targeting specific homeowners for personal vendettas. An elderly man named Mr. Grayson stood up. Jake, what do we do? Jake smirked and unfolded a blueprint. We take them down. The next morning, Jake woke up to an ominous sight. A bright orange stop work order was nailed to his front door. Your property is now under investigation for multiple HOA violations. You are prohibited from making changes until further notice. A letter was slipped underneath. If you continue to spread misinformation about the HOA, legal action will be taken against you. You have been warned. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline. They were scared. They were trying to intimidate him. Instead of backing down, he grabbed his phone and called the one person who could take this to the next level. 2 weeks later, Jake sat in the front row of a packed courtroom. On the other side of the room, Karen Wilson, the HOA president, sat with her attorney smirking. The judge entered. Court is now in session. Jake's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we have undeniable proof that the Willow Creek HOA has been systematically breaking property laws for years. Karen's attorney scoffed. These accusations are baseless. Jake smirked. Are they? A projector screen lit up. Emails, bank statements, and photos of illegal demolitions flashed on the screen. Karen's face paled. The evidence was overwhelming. 1 month later, Jake stood in the Willow Creek HOA office, watching as Karen packed up her desk. She refused to meet his eyes. This isn't over, she muttered. Jake grinned. Oh, it absolutely is. What happened? HOA lost the case and was forced to pay $250,000 in damages. Karen and the entire board resigned in disgrace. Homeowners voted to remove the HOA entirely. Jake rebuilt his fence, taller, stronger, and legal. The community had won.